All right, so you want to know the goddamn truth about New York City.
The real fucking deal.
Not the bullshit tourist brochures, not some pretentious documentary.
It's just the raw, unfiltered truth.
That's what we're doing today, folks.
Diving headfirst into this shithole they call the Big Apple.
Using, what is this?
Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia and your notes.
We're going to sift through the crap and figure out what makes this concrete jungle tick.
So first things first, it says here New York City is the most populated city in the U.S.
8.8 million people crammed into 300 square miles.
Jesus Christ.
It's like trying to fit every goddamn Kardashian into a smart car.
It's a lot of ass.
It's insanely dense, no doubt about it.
And it's not just one giant blob of humanity, right?
Nope, it's divided into those 5 boroughs everyone's heard of. Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan.
Queens, Staten Island?
Each one's like its own little country with its own attitude and baggage.
5 boroughs. Jesus, how the hell do you even get around that mess? So how did this whole thing even become a city in the first place? Did some asshole just plant a flag and say, mine?
Not exactly. Back in the 1600s, you had a bunch of Dutch traders all about making a buck.
Dutch traders, huh? Were they high on pop brownies back then, too?
Maybe. History doesn't say.
They probably had something.
But they were big into fur trading.
Fur trading, huh? Sounds kind of kinky.
They actually bought the island of Manhattan from the Native Americans who lived there.
Wait, they bought Manhattan?
The Lenape people.
How much did that cost? Like a couple bucks and a pack of smokes?
More than that, but still a steal. It was around 60 guilders, which translates to about $900 in today's money.
Damn, that's one hell of a real estate deal.
Talk about a bargain.
So the Dutch were running the show for a while then, huh? Calling all the shots, telling everyone what to do?
They ran things for a few decades.
Living the good life.
They called the place New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam, eh?
Oh.
Catchy.
They even built a wall across lower Manhattan to try and keep out invaders.
Kind of ironic, considering what Wall Street is known for today.
Yeah, no kidding. Wall Street was an actual wall.
Seriously?
Yep, remnants of it are still there.
That's wild.
But the good times didn't last forever for the Dutch. The English showed up in 1664, took over without firing a shot, and renamed the whole damn place New York.
After the Duke of York.
Of course.
Classic English move. Steal shit, rename it, and act like they invented it.
Pretty much.
So how did this place turn into the giant melting pot everyone talks about?
Yeah.
Did they just put out a giant welcome sign or something?
It's all about immigration. New York has always been the main entry point for people coming to the U.S.
Makes sense.
In 2021, over 3 million residents were born outside the U.S.
3 million. Jesus.
That's more than any other city in the whole fucking world.
Damn, that explains why everyone says you can hear like 800 different languages just walking down the street.
It's a linguistic tapestry.
So what are all these people doing in New York City? Are they all Wall Street bigwigs or what?
Some are.
Making it rain.
New York is a global financial hub, no doubt.
But it's more than just that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All those suits running around.
You've got media, tech, fashion, all sorts of industries.
But Wall Street's the big kahuna, right? The one that makes it so goddamn expensive to even breathe the air there.
It plays a big part for sure.
Those finance bros can be real asshats.
New York is consistently ranked as one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Shocker.
Especially for expats.
Ouch.
Rent in Manhattan is astronomical.
Okay.
In 2023, you were looking at over $4,000 a month for a 1-bedroom shithole.
$4,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. Fuck that. I could buy a used car for that much.
Yeah, the housing market is brutal.
And don't even think about shopping on Fifth Avenue unless you've got a trust fund.
You got it. It's the most expensive shopping street in the world.
So has New York City always been this glamorous and expensive? Or was it always a shithole?
Not even close.
Spill the tea.
It's had its ups and downs.
The real roller coaster ride.
In the 1970s, the city was overrun with crime and nearly went bankrupt.
Seriously? What the hell happened? Did everyone just lose their minds?
It was a perfect storm of shit.
Like a goddamn dumpster fire.
Job losses, rising crime rates, the whole city was a powder keg.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
They went begging to President Ford for a bailout.
And what'd he say?
He basically told them to go fuck themselves.
Yam.
The Daily News even ran a front page with the headline, "Ford to City, Drop Dead."
Brutal.
Pretty much sums up the whole situation.
No wonder everyone was pissed off.
You got that right.
So how did New York City crawl out of that hole?
New Yorkers are tough bastards. They bounced back.
Resilient motherfuckers.
The financial industry started booming again in the 80s.
Back to making it rain.
Crime rates went down, and new waves of immigrants brought in energy and new ideas.
The cycle continues.
Of course, then you had 9/11, which was a total mindfuck for everyone.
Yeah, that was a fucked up day.
It was a tragedy, no question.
Absolutely.
But it was incredible to see how everyone came together to support each other and rebuild.
That's the spirit.
That's the thing about New Yorkers. They don't stay down for long.
They're survivors.
Exactly.
So what's it like to actually live in this concrete jungle?
Is it as goddamn chaotic as everyone says?
You tell me.
It can be.
Loud, crowded.
Everyone's always in a hurry.
Sounds stressful.
But there's also this energy that you don't get anywhere else.
So it's a love-hate kind of thing.
Pretty much.
What about the weather? Is it always sunny in Philadelphia?
Wrong city.
Shit, you're right.
We're talking about New York.
And the weather.
Can be a bitch.
Hot, sticky summers.
Winters that can freeze your balls off.
And then there's this thing called the urban heat island effect.
All the concrete traps the heat.
So it's like living in a goddamn oven.
Pretty much.
Lovely.
And that's not even mentioning all the homeless people you see everywhere.
Yeah, what's up with that? Doesn't New York have some kind of law about giving everyone a place to stay?
They do. It's called the right to shelter law.
You're shitting me.
Nope.
So anyone could just show up and get a free apartment?
New York City is legally obligated to provide shelter to anyone who needs it.
Damn.
Some people say it attracts homeless people from other cities, but others say it's a necessary safety net in a city where the cost of living is through the roof.
That's a whole debate.
For sure.
That makes sense. Okay, let's talk about getting around this madhouse.
How about the subway?
Is it as much of a nightmare as everyone says?
It can be crowded and confusing,
Packed like sardines.
but it runs 247, which is pretty impressive.
Wait, seriously?
3 out of the 5 24-hour subway systems in the U.S. are in New York City.
I thought New York never sleeps just because of all the bars and clubs.
Those are there too, but the subway definitely keeps the city moving.
And of course, you've got the iconic yellow cabs.
A true symbol of the city.
Do people still use those? I thought everyone was all about Uber and Lyft now.
Ride sharing has taken over.
Figures.
But the yellow cabs are still around.
You can't kill off an icon that easily.
Exactly.
So if I ever visit this crazy place, I got to take a ride in one, right?
Absolutely.
Just to say I did it.
And speaking of things you got to do, don't miss the Staten Island Ferry.
What's the big deal about that?
It's free.
Free. In New York City. I thought everything cost a fortune there.
The Staten Island Ferry is a rare exception.
All right, I'm listening.
Plus, it gives you an amazing view of the Statue of Liberty.
Now you're talking.
And it runs 204/7, so you can hop on anytime.
Free, amazing views, and runs 247.
You got it.
Okay, I'm adding that to the list. So, we've talked about the history, the people, how expensive it is, but what about the vibe of New York City? What makes it tick?
It's hard to put your finger on it.
It's got that certain something, huh?
New Yorkers are a different breed.
They're driven, they're ambitious.
And they're resilient as hell.
It's a get-shit-done mentality.
Which can be intimidating, but also kind of inspiring.
And I bet everyone's always in a goddamn hurry.
You better believe it.
New York Minute, right?
It's a real thing.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time moves differently in this city.
So basically what you're saying is New York City is a city of extremes.
100%.
Yes, good and bad.
Beauty and ugliness.
Triumphs and tragedies.
It's all there.
A real mixed bag.
But one thing's for sure, this city never gives up.
Always evolving.
Always bouncing back.
Sounds like a love-hate relationship waiting to happen.
Maybe, but it's a city that definitely leaves its mark on you.
Whether you love it or hate it.
You won't forget it, that's for sure. All right, let's dive into some of these batshit crazy New York City laws. You ready for this?
Hit me with your best shot.
Uh-huh.
What kind of fucked up shit are we talking about here?
Okay, how about this? It's illegal to gather in groups of 3 or more on sidewalks while wearing masks.
You're kidding, right? What the hell kind of law is that?
Apparently, it's an old law designed to prevent masked gangs from causing trouble. You know, back in the day when gangs roamed the streets, terrifying old ladies and shit.
So I can't even wear a goddamn Halloween costume in public without getting arrested. This city is fuck.
Well, it depends on the costume. The law specifically targets masks that conceal your identity.
So if I dress up as a giant dick, I'm good to go.
I wouldn't recommend testing that one.
All right, fine. Give me another one.
Okay, here's a weird one. It's illegal to fall asleep under a hairdryer in a hair salon.
Okay, that one actually makes sense. Wouldn't want to burn the place down.
Yeah, definitely a fire hazard. But you know what's really strange? It's illegal to open or close an umbrella while riding in an elevator.
Seriously. What the fuck?
I guess they're worried about people poking each other's eyes out.
Jesus, talk about a nanny state.
All right, prepare yourself for this one. It's illegal to remove your shoes in a theater if your feet stink.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Who the hell comes up with these laws?
I have no idea, but imagine being the poor usher who has to deal with that complaint.
Excuse me, sir. Your feet are assaulting my nostrils.
Exactly. Awkward as hell.
Hey, that one wins. Weirdest law ever. But you said there were tons of these, right? What else you got?
Oh, we're just getting started. There's a law against eating peanuts in church.
What? Why the hell would anyone eat peanuts in church?
Maybe they get snacky during the sermon.
Or maybe they're just assholes who brings peanuts to church.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one that's going to blow your mind. It's illegal to use confetti.
Confetti? Seriously? What is glitter next?
Wouldn't surprise me. Apparently, they consider confetti a public nuisance because it's hard to clean up.
So much for celebrating anything in this city. What the hell are you supposed to do? Just sit around and be miserable all the time?
Hey, they never said anything about banning booze, and you can always go dancing well, as long as the bar or restaurant has a cabaret license.
Wait, you need a license to dance? What kind of bullshit is that?
Only in New York City, my friend. Only in New York City.
This is depressing. Tell me something good about this place before I swear off ever visiting.
Okay, how about this? New York has an incredible food scene. You can find cuisine from literally every corner of the goddamn world.
All right, now you're talking, I love to eat. What are some must-try dishes? Give me the good stuff.
Well, you can't go to New York without having a proper New York slice of pizza and a bagel with lox and a hot dog from a street vendor and pastrami on rye from a classic deli.
Damn, now I'm fucking starving. All right, you've redeemed yourself. New York, here I come. Weird laws and all.
Just make sure to pack some breath mints. You never know when you might need them, especially after all that delicious food.
Good point.
Yeah.
So we've covered the basics. The history, the people, the crazy-ass laws, even the food. But there's one thing I gotta ask you about.
Yeah.
What's the deal with all the goddamn roaches? Are they really as bad as everyone says?
Yes, the infamous New York City roach is a tale as old as time.
People talk about them like they're mythical creatures.
Yeah.
Are we talking giant flying roaches here?
They might as well be. They're pretty much unavoidable, especially in those older buildings. But hey, they're just part of the charm, right?
Charm. That's a stretch I think I'll pass on sharing my living space with those creepy crawlers.
Well, then you better be prepared to pay top dollar for a fancy roach-free apartment.
Easy for you to say, Mr. Moneybags.
Hey, I'm just a humble expert, but seriously, roaches are a fact of life in New York City. Get used to it or stay the hell out.
No. I think I'll stick to visiting a few days of roach-free bliss is enough for me. So what else makes New York unique? Aside from the insane rent and the roaches, of course.
Believe it or not, New York City has an incredible park system. Central Park is the most famous, obviously, but there are parks and green spaces all over the 5 boroughs.
Parks. In a concrete jungle.
You bet they're essential for staying sane in this crazy town, and they're not just boring patches of grass. You've got playgrounds, gardens, museums, even zoos.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty cool.
Right. And then there's the art scene, world-class museums, underground galleries, street art. There's something for everyone, and don't even get me started on the music scene. New York is a breeding ground for all kinds of music. From jazz to hip-hop to classical. You can find live music any night of the week in any genre you can imagine.
So you're saying there's more to New York City than just Times Square and the Empire State Building?
Way more. You've just got to know where to look, get off the beaten path, explore the different neighborhoods. That's where you'll find the real heart and soul of New York.
All right, you're making me curious, but what about the people? Are they really all rude and aggressive assholes like everyone says?
New Yorkers are definitely a special breed. They're blunt and direct. They don't sugarcoat things. They're also incredibly resilient. They've been through a lot, from economic downturns to terrorist attacks, and they always bounce back.
So they're tough cookies, huh?
You could say that, but they're also incredibly diverse and welcoming to newcomers. You'll find people from all walks of life in New York, and that's what makes it so vibrant and exciting.
Okay, you've almost convinced me to move there. Just got to figure out how to afford the rent and avoid those goddamn roaches.
That's the million-dollar question. But hey, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? That's what they say anyway.
That's what they say. Honestly, I'm still a little intimidated by the whole thing.
I get it. New York City isn't for everyone. It's a tough city, a demanding city, but it's also an incredible city full of energy and opportunity. If you're up for a challenge and an adventure, there's no place like it.
All right, so we've talked about all the crazy shit that makes New York City what it is, But before we wrap this up, there's one thing that's still bugging me.
Lay it on me, what's eating you?
This whole right to shelter thing sounds great on paper.
Right, everyone deserves a roof over their head.
Especially in a city where even a goddamn shoebox costs a fortune.
Exactly.
But doesn't it just end up turning New York City into a giant homeless magnet? Like, wouldn't that make the problem even worse?
It's a question a lot of people have. It's complicated.
Yeah.
No easy answers.
Yeah, but
On the one hand, you've got people who believe that the right to shelter law is the right thing to do.
sure.
They say everyone deserves a roof over their head,
Right.
especially in a city like New York.
Where the cost of living is insane.
Absolutely.
But what about the argument that it just encourages more homeless people to come to the city?
That's the other side of the coin.
Right.
Some people say it creates a perverse incentive, that it makes the problem worse instead of better.
So it's like a goddamn catch-22. You're screwed if you do, screwed if you don't.
Pretty much, that's fucked up. And then you've got the question of whether the city's shelters are actually any good. Are they safe? Are they helping people get back on their feet?
Yeah, that's a whole other issue. There's a lot of debate about that.
So what's the answer? What can be done to fix this mess?
Honestly, I don't have all the answers.
Fair enough.
But I think it starts with having an honest conversation about it.
Okay.
We need to understand why people end up on the streets in the first place, and we need to find solutions that are actually effective. Makes sense, all. All right, folks, that's a wrap on our deep dive into the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
Or fucking city. We've covered everything from the city's crazy history to its insane laws, from its incredible food scene to the goddamn roaches that seem to run the place.
It's a city that truly never sleeps, and one that will definitely leave you with some stories to tell. Just make sure you don't end up sleeping on the streets.
Word. So if you're feeling adventurous and you've got a thick skin and a fat wallet, head on over to the Big Apple. Just be prepared for crowds, noise, and a whole lot of attitude.
And don't forget to watch out for those roaches.
Damn straight. All right, listeners, thanks for tuning in. And remember, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But seriously, good luck with that.
Until next time, don't do anything stupid.